When an aging billionaire arrives with promises of wealth and a life of luxury, Adana sees an opportunity to escape their struggles, but at a devastating cost. Adana and Chizoba. The sisters were the daughters of Mama Nkechi, a widow known for her wisdom and resilience. Life had not been kind to them after the death of their father. He left behind little more than his name and a dilapidated house perched at the edge of the village. Adana, the elder sister, was a fiery, ambitious young woman of 24. Her sharp eyes often scanned the horizon, searching for opportunities that could lift her family out of their dire situation. Though life had toughened her, her heart still carried the burden of responsibility for her younger sister and their struggling mother. Chizoba, on the other hand, was soft-spoken and gentle, her beauty radiating like the morning sun. At just 18, she had the kind of delicate charm that turned heads wherever she went. Her skin glowed like polished ebony, and her large, curious eyes carried an innocence that made her beloved by the villagers. The sisters shared a bond so strong it seemed unbreakable. They had grown up dreaming together, whispering under the starry sky about a brighter future where their lives would no longer be ruled by hunger and hardship. Adana promised Chizoba that one day, she would see the world beyond their humble village, and Chizoba believed her, because Adana always seemed to find a way to turn dreams into plans. Their mother, Mama Nkechi, was a constant source of wisdom and comfort. Despite her weary hands from years of farming, she always had a warm smile and stories of resilience to share. "Life is hard, my daughters," she often said, stirring a pot of soup over the fire. "But as long as you have each other, you are richer than you know." One fateful morning, as the sisters walked to the market to sell a few baskets of mangoes, Chizoba sighed, "Adana, do you ever think our lives will change? Sometimes, I feel like this is all there is for us." Adana turned to her sister, her determination flashing in her eyes. "Our lives will change, Chizoba. I promise. We just need the right opportunity. When it comes, we must grab it with both hands." The market was alive with the sounds of haggling traders and the smells of fresh produce. Chizoba's beauty drew the attention of nearly every man they passed. Adana, used to this, kept her protective arm around her sister, her eyes scanning the crowd for familiar faces. The sun had just reached its peak when an unexpected sight froze Adana in her tracks. A convoy of sleek black cars rolled into the village square, an uncommon spectacle in their humble community. The cars came to a halt, and the villagers gathered curiously. From the largest car emerged an elderly man dressed in flowing agbada, his gold chains glinting in the sunlight. "That's Chief Ukena," whispered a trader beside Adana. "The richest man in the region. I heard he's here to find a young bride." Adana's heart skipped a beat. She knew of Chief Ukena, his name was spoken in hushed tones in every corner of the village. He was a man of immense wealth, but also of controversy. His business empire stretched across the country, and his power was as vast as his fortune. Adana's mind raced with thoughts she dared not voice aloud. Chizoba tugged at Adana's arm, her voice low. "He's looking this way." Adana followed her sister's gaze and saw Chief Ukena's piercing eyes fixed on Chizoba. His lips curled into a smile that sent shivers down Adana's spine. In that moment, a spark of an idea flickered in her mind, a dangerous idea, but one that could change their lives forever. As the convoy pulled away, Adana watched it disappear down the dusty road. Her thoughts swirled with possibilities and consequences. The seed of ambition had been planted, and she could already feel it taking root. "Chizoba," she said, gripping her sister's hand tightly, "our lives are about to change." Little did they know, that moment in the market would set them on a path of choices, betrayal, and consequences that neither of them could foresee. The following week, the quiet village of Umudike was abuzz with news of Chief Ukena's visit. It was not every day that a man of such wealth and status graced their modest community. Stories swirled like the Harmattan wind. Some said he was searching for a bride, others claimed he was scouting for land to expand his business empire. Regardless of the reason, his name was on everyone's lips. Adana, however, could not shake the way Chief Ukena had looked at Chizoba. She had spent restless nights turning the moment over in her mind, weighing the possibilities. Their family's situation was growing more desperate. The harvest had been poor, and their mother's health was beginning to falter. Adana felt the weight of responsibility pressing harder on her shoulders. Early one morning, as the village awoke to the sound of crowing roosters, Adana called Chizoba to join her under the shade of the old mango tree in their compound. The sun's golden rays filtered through the leaves, casting dappled light on their faces. "Chizoba," Adana began, her voice measured. "Have you thought about Chief Ukena?" Chizoba tilted her head, puzzled. "What do you mean? He's just a man with a lot of money. What does that have to do with us?" Adana hesitated, choosing her words carefully. "He's not just any man. He could change our lives. Do you know what it would mean if you married someone like him?" Chizoba's eyes widened in shock. "Married? Adana, he's old enough to be Papa. How can you even suggest such a thing?" "Listen to me," Adana said firmly, gripping her sister's hand. "We're struggling. Mama is getting weaker every day, and we barely have enough to eat. You've seen how people live after marrying into wealth. You could give us all a better life." Chizoba pulled her hand away, her voice trembling. "This is not the life I dreamed of, Adana. I don't care about wealth if it means giving up my happiness." Adana softened her tone, seeing the distress in her sister's eyes. "I know it's not what you want, Chizoba. But think of Mama. Think of the sacrifices we've made just to survive. This might be the only way." Chizoba stood, her heart pounding. "I don't want to talk about this anymore." Adana watched as her sister walked away, guilt and determination battling within her. She knew Chizoba's reluctance, but she also knew the desperation of their situation. She would have to find a way to make her sister see reason, or so she thought. A few days later, the sound of drumming and ululation echoed through the village. It was announced that Chief Ukena would host a grand feast at his mansion, inviting families to come and enjoy his hospitality. The invitation alone caused a stir, as no one in the village had ever been welcomed into his luxurious home. Adana saw this as an opportunity. She convinced their mother to attend, claiming it would be a chance for the family to enjoy a brief respite from their troubles. Chizoba was hesitant but eventually agreed, not wanting to disappoint her family. The day of the feast arrived, and the sisters dressed in their best clothes, though their simple attire paled in comparison to the grandeur of the mansion they entered. Chief Ukena's home was a sprawling estate, adorned with marble floors, glittering chandeliers, and servants bustling to and fro. As they mingled with other guests, Adana kept a watchful eye on Chief Ukena. He moved through the crowd with an air of authority, his booming laugh echoing as he charmed those around him. It wasn't long before his gaze landed on Chizoba again. "Ah, the beautiful Chizoba," Chief Ukena said, his deep voice commanding attention as he approached. "I remember you from the market. Your beauty is truly captivating." Chizoba blushed, glancing nervously at Adana, who nudged her forward. "Thank you, Chief," Chizoba replied, her voice barely above a whisper. "Please, come sit with me," he said, gesturing to an ornate sofa. "I would like to know more about you." Chizoba hesitated, but Adana gave her an encouraging nod. Reluctantly, she followed Chief Ukena to the sofa, where they began to talk. Adana watched from a distance, a mixture of hope and apprehension swirling in her chest. She couldn't hear their conversation, but she saw the way Chief Ukena's eyes lit up as he spoke to her sister. By the end of the evening, Chief Ukena made his intentions clear. He approached Maman Kechi, bowing slightly out of respect. "Maman Kechi," he said, his tone reverent, "your daughter Chizoba is a rare jewel. I would be honored if you would allow her to be my wife." The room fell silent. Maman Kechi's eyes darted to Chizoba, who stood frozen, her face pale with shock. Adana stepped forward, her heart pounding. "This is a great honor, Chief," Adana said quickly, breaking the silence. "We will discuss it as a family and give you our answer soon." Chief Ukena nodded, a knowing smile playing on his lips. "Take your time, but I hope for a favorable response." As the family walked home under the moonlit sky, Chizoba finally spoke, her voice breaking. "Adana, why didn't you say no? Why didn't you stop him?" Adana avoided her sister's gaze, her determination unshaken. "Because this might be our only chance to change everything." The days following Chief Ukena's proposal were filled with tension in Maman Kechi's household. The once quiet and harmonious home became a battleground of whispers, stolen glances, and unspoken fears. Chizoba avoided Adana, retreating to her favorite spot under the mango tree, where she sat for hours, lost in thought. Adana, however, remained resolute. She knew this was an opportunity they could not afford to squander. One evening, Memankechi called her daughters together. The flickering light of a kerosene lamp cast shadows on their faces as they gathered around the small wooden table in their living room. Adana, Chizoba, Memankechi began, her voice heavy with exhaustion, "We need to talk about Chief Ukena's proposal. This is not a decision to take lightly." Chizoba's head shot up, her eyes pleading. "Mama, I don't want to marry him. He's old, and I don't love him. Please don't make me do this." Memankechi's expression softened, but before she could respond, Adana interjected. "Mama, think about what this could mean for us. Chief Ukena is not just any man. He has wealth and influence. He can give Chizoba a life we've only dreamed of. And he can help us, too." Chizoba's voice trembled with anger. "You're only thinking about yourself, Adana. You don't care what this will do to me." "That's not true." Adana shot back, her voice rising. "I care about all of us. Do you think I like this idea? Do you think I want to see you unhappy? But sometimes we have to make sacrifices for the people we love." Memankechi raised her hand, silencing them. "Enough," she said firmly. "This decision is not just about money or comfort. Chizoba's happiness matters too." The room fell silent. Chizoba stared at the table, her mind racing. She felt trapped, torn between her own desires and the needs of her family. The weight of responsibility pressed down on her like a heavy stone. The next day, as Chizoba walked through the village, she felt the stares and heard the whispers of the villagers. News of Chief Ukena's proposal had spread like wildfire, and everyone had an opinion. "She'll live like a queen," one woman said, her voice filled with envy. "But at what cost?" another murmured. "She's just a girl." Chizoba quickened her pace, her heart pounding. She felt like a lamb being led to the slaughter. That evening, Adana approached Chizoba under the mango tree. The sky was painted in hues of orange and pink as the sun set behind the hills. "Chizoba," Adana began, her voice soft. "I know you're angry with me, but please, hear me out." Chizoba didn't respond, but she didn't walk away either. Taking this as a sign, Adana continued. "I know this isn't what you want, but think about Mama. Think about the life we're living. This is our chance to change everything. If you marry Chief Ukena, you'll never have to worry about where your next meal will come from. You'll never have to struggle like we've been struggling." Tears welled up in Chizoba's eyes. "And what about me, Adana? What about what I want? Don't I deserve to be happy?" Adana placed a hand on her sister's shoulder. "I promise, I'll be there for you. You won't go through this alone." 2 days later, the family visited Chief Ukena's mansion to give their answer. The opulence of the estate was overwhelming, with marble floors, grand chandeliers, and servants bustling about. Chief Ukena greeted them warmly, his smile broad and confident. "Memankechi, Adana, Chizoba," he said, gesturing for them to sit. "Have you made a decision?" Memankechi hesitated, glancing at her daughters. Chizoba's hands trembled in her lap, but she nodded slowly, her heart sinking. "Yes, Chief. Chizoba will marry you." Chief Ukena's face lit up with satisfaction. "You have made a wise choice. I promise, Chizoba will be well cared for." As the deal was sealed, Chizoba felt a pang of despair. She looked at Adana, who gave her an encouraging nod, but the reassurance did little to ease the knot in her stomach. The course of her life had been set, and there was no turning back. The morning of Chizoba's wedding dawned with a golden glow, as if the universe was mocking her turmoil. The village buzzed with activity, and the streets were alive with women carrying baskets of food, drummers preparing their instruments, and children chasing each other in excitement. It was the grandest wedding Umudike had ever seen, but to Chizoba, it felt like walking into a cage. Adana fussed over Chizoba, adjusting the coral beads that adorned her neck and wrists. Her sister's beauty shone even brighter in her traditional attire of deep red and gold, the aso oak fabric shimmering under the sunlight. Yet, Chizoba's eyes betrayed her sorrow, her smile forced and fleeting. "Chizoba, you look like a queen," Adana said, her voice tinged with pride. "You're doing the right thing." Chizoba met her sister's gaze in the mirror, her voice barely audible. "If this is the right thing, why does it feel so wrong?" Adana swallowed hard, unable to answer. She knew Chizoba's pain but convinced herself it would all be worth it in the end. The ceremony was a spectacle of wealth and tradition. Chief Ukena spared no expense, ensuring the event was talked about for years to come. The village square was transformed with colorful canopies and gold-plated decorations. Guests feasted on steaming plates of jollof rice, goat meat, and pepper soup, while drummers and dancers entertained the crowd. Chizoba sat beside Chief Ukena, her head bowed as the elders blessed their union. He wore a white agbada, his fingers heavy with gold rings. He smiled broadly, but Chizoba's face remained stoic, her heart screaming for an escape she could not have. As the ceremony reached its climax, Maman Kechi approached the couple, placing her hands on Chizoba's shoulders. "My daughter," she said, her voice trembling, "you are embarking on a new journey. Remember, no matter what happens, you will always have a home here." Chizoba nodded, her throat tight with emotion. She wanted to throw herself into her mother's arms and beg to be taken away, but the weight of her family's needs held her in place. That evening, Chizoba was escorted to Chief Ukena's mansion. The grandeur of the house, with its marble floors and towering ceilings, only deepened her sense of isolation. Servants scurried to and fro, bowing respectfully as she passed, but their deference felt like another reminder of her new reality. Chief Ukena led her to a lavish bedroom, its canopy bed draped in silk. "This is your home now, Chizoba," he said, his voice deep and commanding. "You will have everything you could ever want." Chizoba nodded mechanically, her mind racing with thoughts of her family and the life she had left behind. "You are my wife now," he added, his tone softening. "I will take care of you." She forced a smile, her heart aching. "Thank you, Chief." As the door closed behind him, Chizoba sank onto the edge of the bed, her tears finally spilling over. She felt trapped, like a bird in a gilded cage, unable to fly away. Back at their humble home, Adana sat by the fire, staring into the flames. She told herself she had done the right thing, that this sacrifice would secure their future. Yet, the image of Chizoba's tearful eyes haunted her. Maman Kechi approached, placing a hand on Adana's shoulder. "You must pray for your sister, Adana. She has taken on a heavy burden for this family." Adana nodded, her resolve hardening. "She'll be fine, Mama. I'll make sure of it."
Please subscribe to our YouTube channel for more stories.